Hey everybody, this is Grace, and I'm going to get back to this story about, talking about these women that are working as volunteers in a small town, but mainly they work in a big warehouse, and part of it is more like an office where they're getting together basically care packages, and part of it's a big warehouse, and it just depends on what's going on, and they live in a rather wealthy county, but part of it is where they, like, one of the towns has a big, what would you call it, where they teach people who are like criminal justice types, law enforcement, like anything from police officers to security guards to bodyguards, personal bodyguards, and people hire them from all over, and they're really well known. Okay, and they also, because it's so lucrative, they make a lot of money doing it. What they have is a surrounding that town, on the kind of like on the outskirts of it, or the far outskirts of it, they have anything from like women's shelters, men's shelters. They have even, like a hush-hush. They have those, what are they called, witness protection homes and such. Things like this. And they have their own people, like they're training, and they were the ones that they guard it. They do it for the whole county. And so the women in this volunteer, what they're doing is packaging up things, care packages kind of things for these, or for if there's something even bigger, they do that. And they're volunteers, they don't get paid. In the morning, it's a lot of them. The morning, the ones working are usually the ones that are homemakers, mainly 45 years old and up, like I said. And they added a second shift, and it's mainly like, teenagers that are, say 17 or so, and on up to like 45 to like 44. Whomever can do it. And they work the second shift, and they mainly, the second shift usually, the younger ones, they're usually, the ones bringing this stuff up, putting it on all the tables and things like that, organizing and finishing up that kind of work. Okay, got all that. Now, like say that part of the work that these women are doing is, like in the morning, they are in this big, big place, part of it, not the warehouse, but putting together these packages, and so they know one another. They have all grown up except for one, Sari, and she comes from somewhere else. But like two towns that come from two towns, and two or three towns, and they pretty much all know one another. And they have one side they're there, they're doing the job. They people are, they're not on the clock, they're volunteers, so they have conversations, and some of it is that's their way of socializing with other people. They have a place to gather, and they actually feel like they're doing something worthy. And then they have other ones that do too, but they're like more like they have they're adults, but they have the mean girl, and then they're mean girl's flying monkeys. Like call them like Wizard of Oz. Okay, so I'm gonna get back to that story, and in this one, it's going to be about the one I nicknamed Dee Dee, but Donna, but she goes by Dee Dee. Okay, I seem to be having trouble with my camera here. I don't know why. I even turned it off and turned it back on, but oh well. Anyway, this is about now my personal life. I've had, since I was a child, I think since I was born, I've been around people, mainly women, but it's not always just women. No, it's not. That have these narcissistic and histrionic behaviors. I'm not talking about disorders. I'm not noticing anybody anyway. And I don't know of anybody who has either one of those, personally. But their behaviors are such. And, very loud. Like the histrionic kind of side is they're very loud. They want to be the center of attention. They're going to stand out. I don't care if it's negative or positive attention. They're going to be really loud talkers. They cackle. Their laughter is really loud. Everything about them is kind of loud. The ones I've known, I'm not saying that everybody who has those behaviors has those. But, when they're younger, their clothing is kind of suggestive, provocative. They are too. As they age, it's not quite as much, but still not going to be like age appropriate. It'll be something that for their age might look a bit bizarre. Now, just because somebody does that doesn't make them histrionic, okay, either. It doesn't necessarily. That's for a counselor, for a professional to diagnose, theirs. But anyway, but they're going to stand out. They're going to find ways, a lot of bling, a lot of makeup, a lot of hair, crazy, whatever they do to ensure that they're going to stand out. Now, in this, I mentioned Donna, Dee Dee, and she is, her whole behaviors are like that, very, very loud, and they can be be bullies, too. By the way, I wrote that down, and they want their way so bad. They want to have people looking at them. They want that attention so bad that they can bully people. And be like mean girls, adult mean girls. Really. I've made videos on this before. But, each video is a new video. And people might not have watched the old ones. So. Now, this type, like I was talking about the bully, they will bully anybody. They don't care. Even if it's a child or an elder, they do not care. Okay? If it gets them attention, they don't care. And again, none of this is 100% across the board. Not everybody, one size doesn't fit all. Okay, now, Donna, she's just very loud. She works with all these volunteers, and she wants everybody to, hear her, see her, and she comes in acting like she has all the news and all what's going on. She knows all of it. She doesn't she hardly ever says where she got it, the information. And sometimes she takes it on as though it's her own way of seeing things. Like she figured it out herself. Or she went and looked it up. Well, she went and looked up what they call, she went and looked up what she wanted to hear and uses it. And what she already thinks, she just wants to hear confirmation bias. She wants others to confirm what she already thinks. And she really doesn't pay attention to actual experts. Actual people who, people who know what they're talking about. As long as it fits what she thinks. That's what she wants to hear. The other ones, they're so-called. So-called, but no. She's going to put that kind of touch of, something negative against them when they're actually the ones who know what they're talking about. But if it doesn't fit her way, nope, wrong, it's wrong, it's wrong. And she's not, she doesn't have any education behind it to back it up herself, but she just knows they're wrong because she says so. But she doesn't tell everybody that, but she said, no, they don't know what they're talking about because that's the kind of stupid, or something like that. Okay, and she'll do that, and the others, the ones that are not her flying monkeys, it's a big place. They just pretty much ignore her, most of them, but sometimes, women, it's mainly women, that kind of thing. I'm not saying women are catty, no. Saying I'm going to use this for other characters that have something going on, as I said. But it gets on your nerves. It can really, truly get on your nerve when somebody comes in acting like they know everything and they're throwing out a bunch of BS. There's that whole thing, pseudo profound bullshit. It was titles to research articles. It shocked me. But scholarly research articles, okay. But yeah, when they come in, they act like they're such experts on every topic, and that's what she does. And her flying monkeys, they just eat it up and they add to it, and say, oh yeah. And I mean, how many of us have seen this type, known this type? That what they do is they might talk about the mundane, the everyday, the ordinary, the stuff like that for a little while. But then they're trying to lead the conversation into a direction. And that direction is where they can come out with some pseudo profound bullshit. But no, really, it's going to be along the line of conspiracy theories. Okay, there's going to be, I don't even like to call them theories, but there's going to be some kind of conspiracy behind everything that not everything, but when they get to that point when they're wanting to, there will be conspiracy theories behind all of it. And then they might go back to, let people hear that. And, look at them like glorify them, I don't know. I've always heard, don't glorify people, okay? Anyway, they do that to be glorified, for people to look at them like, oh, they're so smart, they know everything. But all of this is bullshit, okay? And it's just something they created in their mind. It has it doesn't even touch reality, okay? But they do that, and people listen to them. The people who are not quite, they're kind of like them, okay? I don't know, my thing's messing up, like I said. But now, working with somebody like this, there might be some times when, there's a crunch, even in volunteer work where there's a crunch going on, and you're like the owner or supervisor or whatever, not the owner, but, people running it are there, so people need to be quiet and do the job. I mean, if you're volunteering, you're not getting paid. Yeah, you don't have to work hard, like you can get fired, but you can volunteer. They can let you go. But all these women, like I said, they do it for it's a good way to socialize with their cohorts. But sometimes this like Donna, she'll be. She'll calm down and do her job, but this type easily gets bored with the same routine. They get bored with, they want something that's new and stimulating, and so they want to be talking, so they can just do whatever it is, whatever kind of work, but they're having something interesting to them, and that's them talking, being heard, and people, oh yeah, and this and this, and yeah, and they take more and they do more. They want that, and they'll go about any way to get it. They don't care how disruptive they are to other people. That doesn't matter. What matters to them is that they are a center of attention. And they'll do anything to get that. They'll wait till like a supervisor leaves the room and immediately start up and get everybody riled up, and all their flying monkeys riled up. About whatever it is that they want to talk about that day and to look good. Okay, I still don't know what's going on with my camera. It's weird. It's not making any noise. I even turned it off and on. It's still not making any noise. And that's strange. When I turn it off, I expect a noise. Anyway, so this woman, this is what she does. She comes in and she's very loud, obnoxious, and, she knows how to act like the perfect angel when other people are around, but she's really bad about giving out misinformation, disinformation, things that could actually hurt people. She tries to give out medical advice to people when she's not a medical professional. Last I heard, I could be wrong, I'm not a lawyer, I don't know. Last I heard that was illegal. But she does that, and there's one woman, Paige, who started with the startup. When it all started up. She started then, and she's been around longer than anybody that's there that, actually does the volunteer work. And, she has to, go to her, she sees that this is becoming very disruptive. They're not getting enough done, and with things going on in the world today, they need to get it done. So she's she's not their supervisor, but she's the one who's there. And that they have, the actual people who are the supervisor type, they don't work there. They just come every once in a while, and they let her, they told her, you need to handle this. Now think about that. How would you handle yourself, one of these loud and obnoxious people, who's been warned before? This, Donna, she's been warned before, that she needs to chill because she went up to the she was a type that I mentioned in the last video. If I actually got it to upload last time, but I haven't made it public yet. But she went up to, she went to the ones that come, the younger ones, and did this whole thing of trying to take them under her wing. You know, do you know that type? They want to take the younger ones under their wing and tell them how to do it, because she's looking more for that attention and for people to glorify her and look up to her. You know, the Donna, the Dee Donna. And she got in trouble for it, basically. So, but anyway, how many of us know this type and know that, you know, what would you do? What would you do to someone like that? I mean, the only thing I could see, and I could be wrong in the way to handle this, you know, is to pull her aside, you know, away from other people, and let her know, and give her that ultimatum. Either, you know, stop with the stuff, or you have to, you're no longer welcome to be a volunteer here. Yeah, because when people are that disruptive, you know, when things, that's not the purpose. It's not to glorify one person and to have to hear one person's, you know, trying to get all that attention. But there could be other ways around it. What about you? But anyway, as y'all know, if you've been watching these videos, this is a hypothetical fictional story. It's fictional. If any resemblance to anybody living or dead, it's purely coincidental. You know, all those things that go along with fictional stories. And it's also copyrighted, but some of it's written in writing too. But I'm going to keep doing this. This I found is a way to, a way to talk about these topics, like this histrionic behavior. I think more and more people need to be aware of it, narcissistic and histrionic behaviors. You know, I wish there had been this kind of information out when I was a child to be aware of this type. When I was young, it would have been great. My degree, I'm a social and behavioral scientist, and I'm not perfect with it. I could be wrong on things. Like I said, read the disclaimer and description box below this video on YouTube. But these are fictional stories. Okay, and I have more. Anyway, I thought I'd come out here and do this. I'm going to try to start doing them in the house, but like I said, especially weekends, it's too noisy. But maybe during the week, I've had to change some things around in the house. But maybe I can find a place to do videos inside instead of like this. You know. Anyway, I'll talk to you in another video.